In the dead silence of the battlefield, one machine moves with eyes sharper than any soldier. This isn't just another Russian tank. This is a hunter wrapped in steel, equipped with something...
Hi everyone, and welcome back to After Effects and Map Animation Tutorial number 3. In today's video, we're going to learn how to create this type of radar frequency effect in a simple and effective way, using GeoLayers 3 inside After Effects. Alright, let's begin by creating a brand new composition. This will be our main map composition where everything starts. Inside the new comp, go ahead and add an Esri map layer. From the map style options, select Imagery Map. This gives us a detailed, realistic look for our world geography. Once it appears on the timeline, click on the World Map Comp layer and move over to the Effects Controls panel. Here, we want to reset all the main positioning controls, like longitude, latitude, bearing, pitch, to 0. The only thing we will adjust is zoom, and set that value to 1. Perfect! Now, you'll see a complete world map aligned inside a square frame, exactly the format we need for our upcoming animation. Now, you may notice a small attribution label in the lower left corner of the map. If you want to remove it, simply go to the GeoLayers panel. Open Preferences. Then go to Settings. Under the Attribution section, disable the Attribution display. And just like that, the attribution disappears, giving us a clean map to work with. Next, click on an empty area in your timeline to deselect all layers. Now select the rectangle tool from the toolbar. Hold the Shift key and double-click on the rectangle tool icon. After Effects will automatically create a perfect square centered in the composition, both on the map and inside your timeline. Now, let's organize and set up the map structure. First, rename the rectangle shape layer to Map Frame. Then, select your World Map Comp layer and set the Track Mat to Map Frame. As soon as you do that, you'll notice that the map is now perfectly confined inside the square mask. Next, simply adjust the map frame to align it neatly with the map region. Then, parent the map frame layer to the World Map Comp's anchor and enable 3D mode. This ensures that any movement applied to the GeoLayers map will automatically update the visible map area. Let's enhance our map by adding a background design. Drag your background image or texture into the timeline and place it below the World Map Comp. Now scale it down to match the composition layout. With the background layer selected, apply the grid effect. Change the blending mode to screen so the grid integrates nicely with the map styling. Adjust the grid width and height values depending on the style you prefer. Next, parent this layer to the World Map Comp's anchor point. Now let's make our world map visually stand out. Select the World Map Comp layer, right-click, go to Layer Styles, Stroke. Set the stroke color to white. Increase the stroke size to around 5 pixels. Then, right-click again, Layer Styles, Drop Shadow. Adjust the following for a clean, professional look. Distance, around 20 to 21 pixels. Spread, about 50%. This gives the map a subtle glowing edge and depth, making it pop from the background. Now, as shown in the intro, for richer visual environment, we quickly drag few more background textures or imagery to enhance the scene's depth. Place them behind the World Map Comp layer and scale or position as needed. To give our map a more stylized look, next, we'll apply 2 effects. First, create an adjustment layer. Layer, New, Adjustment Layer. Now apply Tint Effect on this adjustment layer. Reduce the amount to tint to around 44%. This removes overly bright colors and blends everything into a more unified cinematic tone. Pro tip: if you want the tint applied only to the map and not the background, just cut the tint effect from the adjustment layer and paste it directly onto the world map comp layer. Now the effect will only influence the map region. Now we go for second effect, CC Vignette. On the same adjustment layer, apply CC Vignette. This gives a nice vintage documentary feel and helps the viewer's attention stay focused on the map. To feel the difference, here is before and after. Our world map scene is almost ready. Now we're ready to move on to the next stage of map animation. Now, let's start animating our map by focusing on the two key regions in this project: Russia and Ukraine. First, use the search feature inside GeoLayers to locate Russia and add it to browser. Select the Color Palette tool and press Draw feature. Immediately, Russia becomes highlighted on the map. We only need the mainland area of Russia, so keep that visible and remove or disable any unnecessary map areas. Next, change the fill color to red and set the blending mode to multiply. This helps the color blend naturally with our map style and supports the strong dramatic tone of the animation. Now, duplicate the Russia layer and rename it Russia Border. Switch its style from fill to stroke and hit swap to outline the edges instead of filling the region. Next, repeat the same process for Ukraine. Now, let's bring the scene to life. Import an image of President Putin and a tank graphic into the composition. Convert both to 3D layers. Parent them to the World Map Comp's anchor layer. This ensures they move and rotate naturally with the map during geo animations. Then, resize and position the assets so they sit correctly within the composition. And now our map animation is beginning to take shape. We have clear geopolitical regions, visual icons, and a strong cinematic tone ready for motion. We'll start by animating the tank layer. Create a simple movement path using keyframes on position and rotation. I'm assuming you already have basic motion graphics experience. But if not, feel free to check out my previous tutorials where I explain keyframe animation in detail. Once the tank animation feels natural, we can move on to the radio frequency wave effect. To create our frequency wave effect, we first of all deselect everything in the timeline. Select the polygon tool from the toolbar. Click and draw a polygon, but don't release the mouse yet. Press the down arrow key repeatedly to reduce the number of sides. Stop at 3 sides to create a triangle-like pointer. We now have a triangular polygon, but we need manually adjustment in the shape of this triangular polygon. To shape this polygon, twirl down its properties in the timeline. Go to Contents, Polygon 1. Right-click, Convert to Bezier Path. This allows us to manually adjust the corners to create the exact frequency direction design we want. Enable 3D mode, then parent the polygon to the World Map Comp anchor so it syncs perfectly with the map's rotation. Adjust the anchor point toward the base of the shape for proper rotation, as we need. Finally, align the polygon so it points forward from the tank. Now, we'll create the expanding radio wave effect. Go to Layer, New, Solid. Name it Radio Wave. Set the color black. Hit OK. Now apply the radio waves effect to this solid. You can follow our effect settings, frequency, expansion, fade, etc. to match with our visual theme. Then move the anchor point of the radio wave layer to the same location as the anchor point of the triangular polygon. Also enable 3D mode for this layer and parent this to World Map Comp Anchor as well. Now toggle switches/modes if needed. Select the polygon shape layer, set track matte to radio wave layer, and that's it. Now the shape will reveal the radio wave pattern inside it, giving us a directional tracking radar style effect. Now, if you select the polygon shape layer, you can freely adjust the length and width of the frequency marker to better match our animation. Once you're satisfied with the shape, parent both the polygon shape and radio wave layers to the tank layer. This guarantees that the frequency signal will move and rotate precisely along with the tank. Next, align both layers exactly at the point where the frequency emission should begin, typically near Ukraine border. To bring the effect to life, add rotation keyframes to the polygon shape layer. Subtle rotation variations will make the frequency feel more dynamic and operational. And if you want to adjust the signal color, simply modify the fill or effect color from the layer's control panel. Quick and customizable. To make the overall animation even more engaging, consider adding firing flashes, small explosion elements. These extra visuals will reinforce the battlefield atmosphere and elevate the storytelling quality of your map animation. Finally, today's tutorial completes here. You now have a fully animated, professional-looking tank tracking and radio frequency effect, synced in real time with your map movements. If you'd like to download the project file, feel free to message me on WhatsApp. I'll be happy to assist you.